At exactly 3 a.m., a roar echoed through the valley, shaking the heavy glass chandeliers. A moment later, the power failed, plunging the property into total darkness. The security monitors flickered to life, capturing an 8-foot-tall figure standing perfectly still between the trees. Then it flashed a wide, unnatural smile and vanished as the screen filled with static. 6 months earlier, entrepreneur Arjun Malhotra opened the Pinecrest Retreat, investing his life savings into a luxury resort deep in the untouched forests of Himachal Pradesh, banking on the beauty of its isolation. Local shepherds stayed near the perimeter during construction, watching the tree line but never crossing into the property. On opening night, despite a high-end guest list and full staff, every local employee left before the sunset. By pushing a luxury resort into a forest that the local villages had abandoned for centuries, Arjun unknowingly locked his guests inside a physical perimeter with an ancient, restless entity. The first complaint arrived at 10:43 p.m. from room 207. A guest reported the sound of heavy, rhythmic footsteps pacing back and forth across the roof. Security found no footprints on the tiles and no structural reason for the noise. By breakfast, a guest named Rahul had vanished. Housekeeping found his phone and passport on his nightstand, but the balcony door was open. Deep, splintered gouges were carved into the wooden railing, leading directly toward the trees. Investigators recovered a travel photographer's camera near the forest edge. The final frame showed a massive silhouette standing beneath the porch lights, its body covered in tangled hair and its glowing eyes fixed on the lens. Panic set in as a sudden mountain landslide blocked the only road out of the valley. With the phone lines down and the path buried under tons of rock, the hotel was completely severed from the outside world. The haunting had transitioned into a physical hunt. The guests were no longer just observers of eerie events. They were trapped in an environment where the predator had total control. Arjun sent 3 armed guards into the woods to find the missing guests. The lobby monitors tracked their flashlights until one beam shot into the air and was crushed into the dirt. A series of screams followed, ending in silence. Search parties later discovered footprints pressed into the mud with a stride measuring nearly 9 feet. Claw marks were found gouged into the trunks of ancient deodar trees, reaching 8 feet above the ground, far beyond the reach of any known local predator. Desperate for answers, Arjun traveled to the nearby village to interview Pandit Dev Sharma. The 90-year-old priest carried a palm leaf manuscript and was the only person willing to explain the history of the land. Sharma identified the entity as a Brahmarakshas. In regional legend, a scholar who abused his power was cursed after death, his spirit transforming into a demon of endless rage, bound to the forest where he died. Deep beneath the foundations of the lobby, the construction crew had excavated and crushed a black stone idol, destroying the final physical seal that had kept the entity bound to the deep woods for 400 years. As the second night fell, the entity reached the resort. Heavy, splintering impacts shook the hotel's front doors, the massive wooden beams groaning under the weight of something immense trying to force its way inside. Pandit Dev Sharma ordered the guests to abandon the hotel. His plan required the survivors to navigate a hidden path through the pitch-black woods to reach a ruined temple before the creature could breach the human perimeter. The group moved in silence through the freezing rain. Above them, the branches of the ancient deodar trees groaned. Every few minutes, 2 glowing eyes appeared in the canopy, keeping pace with the group as they climbed higher into the monster's domain. The ritual to end the hunt had to be completed at the temple altar before the first light of dawn. If sunrise arrived before the rite was finished, the priest warned that the creature would never leave the mountains. Survival now required the survivors to step directly into the heart of the forest. They were heading to the very place where the Brahmarakshas was most powerful to confront a centuries-old mistake. They reached the ruined temple complex as the storm peaked. Standing among the broken pillars was Mahant Vishwanath, a guardian who had spent his life ensuring that the secrets of the ruins remained hidden. The Mahant revealed that the scholar, Rudnanath, wasn't a practitioner of dark magic. He was a witness to the Mahant's ancestors murdering travelers for gold. To protect their wealth, the ancestors tied Rudnanath to the altar and burned him alive. The family used sacred rituals to frame the dead man, cursing his soul into a Brahmarakshas. This legend kept villagers away, hiding their crimes. The manuscript reveals the creature wasn't hunting out of bloodlust, but searching for a way to voice the suppressed truth. The entity's violence was the direct consequence of a 400-year-old betrayal. The village had built its peace on a manufactured legend, and the Brahmarakshas was the bloody result of a debt that was finally coming due. The Brahmarakshas emerged from the mist, wrapped in glowing, invisible chains of fire. It ignored the terrified tourists, locking its eyes onto Mahant Vishwanath as the air grew heavy with the scent of ozone and ash. Arjun stepped forward to the altar to break the cycle. As the storm raged, he shouted the truth of Rudnath's innocence into the wind, taking responsibility for the architectural desecration that had disturbed the scholar's rest. The chains of fire shattered. The monstrous form dissolved into golden ash, briefly revealing the tired human face of the scholar Rudnath. He whispered a final thank you before his spirit vanished into the mountain wind. The dark energy the Mahant had protected for generations turned on him, leaving only his robes on the stone floor. 1 year later, Arjun demolished the Pinecrest retreat and built a memorial to ensure the history of the forest was never rewritten again. The resort is gone, and the villagers no longer fear the night. Not every monster is born evil. Some are created by greed, by the trail, and by those who rewrite the truth. And sometimes the bravest thing a person can do is not to defeat a monster, but to remember the human being it once was.